Hi, everybody. This is Becca Wright. I'm a Gold Ambassador, and I get to talk to you today about Part 4, Chapter 7, and how to win friends and influence people, called Give a Dog a Good Name. And it's based on this idea that if you are going to give a dog a bad name, you might as well just toss the dog out because the dog will live up to that reputation. But if you give a dog a good name, then you're going to have a good dog because the dog will live up to that reputation. That's the idea. He gives several, it's not a very long chapter, so go ahead and read it, but he gives several good examples of how people will rise to the occasion depending on what people believed about them beforehand. Gives examples of a young boy in school who was expected to be a troublemaker, but instead the teacher encouraged him to be a leader and gave him that reputation of being a leader, and he became so. There's several others, people, employees, things like that. But I'm going to let you read those because, like I said, it's not a very long chapter. But what I was thinking of over and over as I was reading this chapter was this great short film from, I don't know, maybe 45 years ago. It's called Johnny Lingo. So I want to tell you a little bit about Johnny Lingo and how it applies to your Plexus business. So Johnny Lingo is based in some Polynesian island somewhere, South Pacific probably. All we know is it's a small island, and Johnny is a trader and a shrewd businessman. Johnny gets what Johnny wants. He works hard, he has lots of money, and he has come back to his home island after trading and doing business for years so that he can come and bargain for a wife. And on this island, the way that they do it is the suitor will come and negotiate with the father of the bride for the price of the bride, and she is paid for in cows. So the women take great pride in how many cows it took to buy them from their fathers. They'll say, oh, I'm a 3-cow wife. Well, I'm a 5-cow wife. And they're very proud of this, and it stays with them throughout their life. So Johnny comes to get a cow, to get a wife, and he goes to a father on the island who everyone knows his daughter and knows that she's kind of this ugly duckling of the island. She's not a good hostess. She's not gracious. She hides in the shadows. They say she looks like she hasn't eaten enough meals. She just has kind of been a sulking shadow on the island. And so no one can believe that Johnny, who is rich, will come and buy Mahana when he could have any woman on the island. Why would he pick her? So then they're thinking, well, he is a shrewd businessman. He probably just wants to get a good deal. So he's come after Mahana because, he won't have to pay more than 1 cow. That's it. So the way it works is the father will come and he'll start the negotiations and he'll say, well, I think you should pay this number of cows. And the suitor will say, well, I'm only going to pay this number. And then they work through this negotiating process. So the father comes and everyone's talking about how he cannot ask more than 1 cow for Mahana. But his advisor tells him, Johnny's pretty loaded. He's rich. Let's see what we can get out of him. So he comes and he says, for Mahana, you will give me 3 cows. And everyone in the village just laughs. They're tearing it up. Can't believe that he would have the nerve to ask for 3 cows from Mahana. And Johnny Lingo, being the shrewd businessman, everyone expects there's no way he's paying more than 1 cow. Johnny Lingo says, 3 cows is many, but not enough for Mahana. And then he proceeds to tell the father that he will not spend 3 cows for Mahana. He will spend 8 cows for Mahana. And the whole island cannot believe it. They think he must have gone crazy. What is Johnny Lingo thinking? And sure enough, he brings in 8 cows and takes away Mahana. And he's preparing to go on a honeymoon, and they're going to be gone for some time. And before he leaves, he goes to the island's sort of general store. And the man, Mr. Harris, who works at this general store, Johnny orders from him a really fancy carved, beautiful mirror, but it's going to take a long time for it to come in. So then they leave on their honeymoon. And Mr. Harris is, what is Johnny thinking? Maybe he wants to be known as the man who everyone knows is so rich that he could spend 8 cows on a wife. Maybe this is just to pad his, so pat himself on the back so that everyone knows what a powerful businessman that he is. So Johnny and Mahana go out on their honeymoon. And when they come back, Mr. Harris comes to pay them a visit to bring the mirror that Johnny ordered. And Johnny presents the mirror, gets it from Mr. Harris, brings it into Mahana, and you still can't see her face. You can't see anything about her, but you can tell that she's speaking more clearly. She's not mumbling or hiding. And then she says, "I must go thank Mr. Harris." And then she comes out and you see her, and she's beautiful and she's gracious and she's full of light and she's just lovely. And Mr. Harris is floored. And where did this girl come from? This is not the Mahana that we have seen on this island all these years. And she thanks him, and then she leaves. And Mr. Harris says, "What happened? This is amazing." And Johnny Lingo says, "I always knew that Mahana was amazing, and I always saw that in her. I've loved her since we were children. But I needed Mahana to know that she was worth it, that she was an 8-cow woman." And Mr. Harris says, "Oh, so you just wanted to be nice to her. You wanted to do something, make her feel good." And he's like, "No, I wanted her to become an 8-cow woman. When she realized what her worth was, she could become this 8-cow woman." So the story kind of just ends with Mr. Harris saying, "Oh, I see, when she grew up in her father's hut, she was not valued, she was not appreciated, and so she lived up to that. She was a 1-cow woman. But when Johnny Lingo pulled out of her, her worth so that she could see it, she became, the jewel of the island." So that's Johnny Lingo. I totally recommend you look it up on YouTube. It's amazing. But how does this apply to our Plexus business? We have opportunities to do this in our business as well. If you have someone working in your business that has been performing, but they're dropping off, what can you do to encourage them? Remind them of their reputation. Remind them of the spark of divinity that is in them, the lovely that is in them. And the opportunity that is in them to become greater, to become the 8-cow Plexus ambassador by doing their very best. Remind them that they can do that. If you build up within them the reputation within them, they will rise to the occasion. We have opportunities to do this also with brand new ambassadors when we're welcoming them to our team pages. Don't just say, "Here's my friend, she wants wholesale pricing." You can tell everyone on your team why she's going to be amazing at this business, or what he has done that proves to you that he can do this. If you build that reputation, not just within the team, but within that individual, they will rise to the occasion. So give a dog a good name, give your teammates a good name, give them an opportunity to shine, to prove that they are worth their salt, that they're worth the effort to train, that they can be successful. So I invite you to take this in your everyday to look for the good, look for the beautiful, look for that which would make an excellent reputation, and share it so that others can celebrate it, and also the individual can know that they're an 8-cow Plexus ambassador, and they will rise to that occasion. All right, everybody, have a great day.